So let's go to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, where we have a new witness by the name of Abraham Kwashu. Abraham Kwashu has very interesting stories to tell, but they are scrambled eggs because I am trying to make sense of everything that he's trying to say. But I must say, though, it is a breath of fresh air to hear a South African police officer who is a brigadier, can be so articulate and almost logical, because this is where I am right now. 50% I believe him, 50% I don't. The 50% where I believe him is where he's talking about his career, how he started 39 years ago, and then just the time where Fundisa yangulwa. Fundiswa. Winhloboni yomuntu wena. Anyways, we'll talk about that. But then when it comes to the crux of why he is on the hot seat in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, it's wishy-washy. You know, it's like, it's pity-pity, Nje. You're trying to understand, are you going or coming? Because I don't get it. Now, let's talk about it. So, Mr. Nkwashu, who is the witness on the stand, has a sister-in-law whom he considers as a young sister. How so? This is a young woman that got married to his wife's brother. And the brother unfortunately passed on, and so she was free. She was a free agent for some time because the brother died in year 2000. And then 2001, after she had disappeared from the Nkwashu family, I suppose, excuse me, she popped up out of nowhere, and said, "Hey guys, I'm here on a courteous visit to let you know that since I've mourned my husband and I have got closure, and I have moved on, I now have found somebody who's willing to marry me." And this person that is willing to marry her, and it happens to be Katy Molefe. Yeah, the Katy Molefe. And so as they were going on with the conversation between Fundisa and Abraham Kwashu, then she shared with Abraham Kwashu and the family that the man that is willing to marry her happens to be married himself. So the witness like, we don't do that here. We are not going to be marrying or getting involved with married men. So he says he got up and left because he doesn't want to associate himself with this type of conversation. But anyways, Ufundiswa being Fundiswa, as we are hearing on the stand, she rode into the sunset with a married man. However, he comes back and says, well, this Fundiswa lady is married in customary law with Katy Molefe. So Katy Molefe still has his wife. So I don't know why he doesn't like specifically or explicitly say that Fundisa is involved now in a polygamous marriage. Because from what we understand, because even when you hear in the news or in the reports, Fundisa is referred to as the girlfriend of Katy Molefe. Yeah, remember that leaked audio? Of a lady after Aman Swart was unalived, and then discoveries of corruption at Prasa, was it Prasa or Transnet, and how she was telling the son and cousin of Katy Molefe to run away. The police are looking for them. They must never tell anybody about their location. And secondly, they must not take any calls or make calls to anybody unless the calls are coming from Katy Molefe or herself. And I don't know, some monies and what cars that they need to drive and go. Basically, that's what Fundisa, we now learn this is Fundisa who was behind that audio, allegedly. So, Fundiswa, and then he learns over the years that Fundiswa from 2005 all the way to about 2014 or so, or 12, she was like a rat. You know, a cat and a rat. She was running away. She was always on a run, because there were people that were looking for her. That is why I'm asking Fundisa, what sort of a person are you, Fundis? What sort of a person are you, ma'am? That you are running away. Not like, what have you involved yourself in? But then if you listen to that audio, it makes sense what sort of a person she is. And to stick with a man who has businesses, because you know what those businesses were, right? I'm surprised that you're just, maybe it's the life. It's the lifestyle, the soft life. I think maybe that is it. It couldn't be anything else, ma'am. I don't think so. But again, so over the years, in 2014, the witness separates from his wife. Basically, they're estranged husband and wife to each other, I guess, to date, or they divorce. I don't know, because this man is saying too many things that I'm trying to piece together what is he actually saying so that I can come up with a conclusion as to what we are faced with here. But so he talks about how in 2014 he separates from his wife, and then somehow he reconnects with Fundiswa. When he reconnects with Fundiswa, Fundiswa goes to him and says, brother, I don't like the fact that you don't know my husband. I would like you to know my husband, despite how you feel about me being with a married man or something of that nature. So, well, eventually he goes and meets this man, who happens to be Katy Molefe. So they have a conversation, and then he says he kind of liked him. And in my head, I'm like, no, something fishy about this arrangement. And this, I think, it's a masterminded by Katy Molefe. Katy Molefe knows that, hey, I'm involved in whatever I'm involved in. And I kind of got caught in England type of situation. And I might get extradited. But in order for this not to happen, I need somebody who knows, a police officer that is of some sort of rank, who is involved or at least responsible for dockets. Because you know dockets need to disappear, right? Yeah, exactly. If the dockets don't disappear, they need to misinformation so that the court throws that case out type of situation. So Fundis was like, okay, I have a former brother-in-law. This is my husband's brother-in-law, who's a police officer. I'm not quite sure what's his rank in the SAPS, but let me call him up and guilt trip him about my relationship with Katy Molefe and say, Uncle, man, hey, yes, I don't feel good about this. And then he falls in the trap. He falls in the trap of Abraham Nkwashu, because it's brought to Katiso, and a relationship, of course, is sparked out of that. And this relationship, now we are fast forwarding a little bit into 2024. It's 2023 where Aman Swat gets unalived in Vereeniging, and then the docket, obviously, it's going to belong to, guess where? Yeah, it's going to belong to the Vereeniging or Val police station or some sort. Who is in charge of that police station? You got it. Yeah, you got it. It is Abraham Nkwashu. Abraham Nkwashu, then we fast forward a little bit to the arrest of this former police officer, Tao. And there comes Katy Molefe to the witness and say, hey, listen, now they're friends. I mean, remember, you met him, liked him, and then they developed some kind of a friendship. Why? Because he is married to his little sister, Ufundiswa. So now Katy Molefe is like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. There's a guy that you arrested. And then he says, because that's what a police officer is supposed to do. Hold up. I don't talk about my job. I don't talk about the people I arrest, and let alone do favors for people who know the people that I arrested. But no, what does Mr. Abraham Kwashu do? I don't think it's true that he told Katy Molefe that he doesn't discuss his job and he doesn't even discuss it with his wife during pillow talk. Even Justice Madlanga was like, I don't think it's true that you don't have pillow talk about your work with your wife type of situation. But let's move on. He didn't even defend himself. He didn't say, no, 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 sir, I'm serious about what I'm saying. He just shrugged himself off and then continues to say that he told him no, he doesn't do things like that. But yes, but this is where I get a little bit confused. So Tao gets arrested, and Katy Molefe tries to make sure that the docket gets lost. And now remember that Tao is alleged shooter of Ahmad Swart. Right? You already know that story. I don't want to go on a long tangent on that. Let's focus now when Katy Molefe himself gets arrested in is in March of 2025. And I'll tell you a little story before I get to that. I remember there was a time where I finally wanted to meet my dad, whom I have not seen in 22 years because of political violence, and we got separated in KwaZulu-Natal. So I was raised by a single mother until I was like, basically throughout my life. And I have not seen my dad in 22 years. So eventually I like, mother dearest, I know you and your boyfriend, things happened, whatever, but can at least, there's some things that I was trying to understand that was going on. And as a Zulu person, you have to go to your roots, and your roots are your dad. So she's like, okay, let's go. She took me directly there. And then we came back after meeting him. You see what you're looking at? That's my dad. Spitting image. And allegedly, he denied me at some point. But hey, let me not bring and drag my dirty laundry to the public. So as you're looking at me, you're looking at my dad. Everything. I mean, everything. So anyways, so then about 2 years later, I decide to move in with my dad. And he's I didn't move with him at his house, but I moved to his mother's house, where he grew up. And there was my aunt, and my aunt has her own children. And one of her kids is a police officer. So the police officer, as you would do as a police officer, she did a background check on me, secretly did a background check on me to make sure that I'm not a criminal running away from Gauteng, and then she gets associated with a relative who's a fugitive. And as a police officer who swore to serve and to protect, she would report me that, oh, the person you're looking for lives with my mom. So she didn't know that I knew that she's done that. How I found out, it's a different story. And that's what a police officer is supposed to do. That's what the police officer is supposed to do. So when Fundisa introduces, what's his name, Katy Molefe, to him as a police officer, I feel like he should have done his due diligence by doing a background check on this man, because he asked her, what does he do? I mean, some of us, allegedly, he used to be a teacher, Katy Molefe, a high school teacher. I don't know how true this is, but that's what we always known. He was a high school teacher. But Fundisa introduces him as a businessman who owns multiple businesses. So as a police officer, you should be like, okay, let's do some due diligence and background check, like how my cousin sister did on me, type of situation. But no, he doesn't do it. But this is a pattern with our South African police servicemen, by the way, and women. They don't do background checks on people that come into their lives. And yet I can tell that, not I can tell, I know for a fact that in the police academy, they are taught that. so that there's no conflict of interest type of situation. So that is why I don't believe him. I don't believe anything that he's trying to deny when it comes to Katy Molefe, as well as what witness A and B made accusations of regarding him wanting the dockets, yeah, Aman Swart. And then they had to dribble him by saying, oh, the docket is now with the DPP. So when the docket was with the DPP, this is when he got disarmed. Now, this is, of course, Katy Molefe getting arrested, and he taking, he says that Fundisa came to him after Katy was arrested and say, hey, please do me a favor. Katiso got arrested. Can you please help me take his clothes? I like how he said clothes. He take his clothes to the prison that he's is in custody in, and the man takes the clothes. A whole police officer taking clothes to a man who is a suspect. This is where you're supposed to say, hang on a minute. Just like as you said, you don't discuss your work with anybody, including your wife. You should also not take clothes of a person that is suspected of heinous crimes. You don't go there once, you go there twice. That doesn't make sense to me. As a police officer, it doesn't make sense. Fundiswa. Winhloboni yomuntu siso. Hey, I know, I don't get it. I don't get it. So now I see some people are making, like, kind of connecting the dots about Usazi. How did Sazi die? Other people are saying, this is smelling life insurance, Rosemary Ndlovu type of situation. And others are going as far as saying, the relationship between Fundisa and Abraham Kwashu, why did the wife separate with you? Is it because of Miss Fundisa type of situation? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to make any speculation, but something fishy indeed. Something fishy. So anyways, Mr. Nkwashu is looking quite innocent on that hot seat in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, but he is not making any sense. So the cross-examination has begun, which I think they're going to finish today. With him by 4 o'clock, they will be done with Nkwashu, because all that they want to know is, what is your relationship with Katy Molefe? And 2, why did you take these clothes to him? And also the docket. Why did you want the docket? So he's made excuses, or at least explained the docket issue. Okay, what's going on in my throat? The docket issue is that the Gauteng government complained, the Spanias Alusufi, about Aman Swart's case that is taking too long for it to be concluded, and other heinous crimes that were committed. And as a result of that, this was an instruction coming from the provincial commissioner about the dockets that needs to be sent to organized crimes department. And another thing that I don't believe that came from Abraham Nkwashu is that he did not know who the investigating officer to this very day is, and yet he pronounces the investigator the investigator as her. How would you know it's a she or it's a he that is the investigator in the Aman Swart matter? He says he doesn't know who the investigating officer is, but gives her pronouns, which is quite interesting in my opinion. Guys, even myself, as I'm telling this, it's scrambled eggs, right? Because it's scrambled eggs that we are hearing in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And you can tell even with the commissioners, their faces are like this because they're trying to string something together, like what is this man is saying, even though he's quite articulate. I mean, we had a very articulate witness on the stand by the name of Gareth Mnisi, but I think Abraham Kwash is making a little bit more sense than Gareth Mnisi, the clever boy, as people call him now. I told y'all, guys, I told y'all that in South Africa, the moment you throw a degree at me, I roll my eyes. Because it's just a piece of paper that says you are qualified for the job that you are doing or a certain field in some industry. But when it comes to sitting down and having a logical conversation, child, I don't know if it's a South African phenomenon or it is global. But in this country, the moment you say, "Oh, I got a master's degree," I'll be like, "Gosh, here we go." Or you say, "I have this degree," I'm like, "So what does this got to do with what we're talking about? What does it got to do with it?" So Gareth Mnis is the epitome of what I always say about that. Stop throwing around your qualifications at people. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Some of us, we don't do it for a reason. Because what makes you think that me qualified as whatever, and then when I open my mouth, you actually, because you're going to look at me like, what is he talking about? Anyways, guys, I want to leave this video right here. It is 1:30 and they'll be back at 2:05. So there's still some time, and that gives me enough time to also edit this video. Hopefully the Wi-Fi will behave. Please do. Please, I beg. I beg. I'll see you a little bit later. But Fundiswa, where Fundis? Ufunsweni sis. Anyways, goodbye.